Greeks. Thank you for joining us. Do something a little bit different. Usually this doesn't come to mind. Do Anunnaki connection. Just for it's been a while. It's been a long time actually. I know I did one yesterday, but not as the main event. So the ancient astronaut timeline doesn't mean I'm going to go back into the timeline or when events happen, but just connect to their energy of Babylonian times, or Sumerian times, however you want to look at it. Disconnect to their energy in general. This will be a non-lightsaber channeling, as I've seen depictions of Enki with his lightsaber, and maybe that's true. God, it's just becoming a comedy. It really is. Sure, why not? But this will be a lightsaber-free Anunnaki channeling. I was channeling Anunnaki before any lightsaber mythology came to their, well, it's whatever, or romanticism. I guess there's some Anunnaki romance novels out there. I'm not that familiar with it, but more power to you on those that are involved with that. Yeah, it's very strange there. I think spirituality's gone weird. I think we're just in the beginning stages of that then. I guess there'll be probably TV shows about Enki and Will and like a soap opera type of thing going on there. God help us all. Hopefully I'm gone by then. Probably not though. Oh well. So the Anunnaki energies, I mean, they're not the be all, see all. They're not all. I mean, they get more credit than they deserve, but either way, they did cause a lot of trouble here. Guys have done some good, but they've also brought in their problems here. So not that we're going to go into that or whatever they have to say. Let's put it that way. Anything that's constructive towards our collective, hopefully, is lightsaber free. God, it's like a comedy out there. Some of the stuff I've heard is like I just can't. It's like a bad movie. I just can't process it. It's so freaking retarded. But anyway, and then to go to the LSD mind control energy. So the CIA used LSD to mind control many, and we're dealing with a little bit of that hypnosis or a lot. Doesn't mean it's LSD in general, but just basically going to the mind control that's currently happening today. Not just in the spiritual community, but anywhere for that matter. Yeah, spiritual communities become like, it's like church in some groups. Some are actually not, individual, you connect to your power, but others is like little church groups everywhere. But just as alien church groups. It's absolutely hilarious. Trying to get too close to that one. Yeah, you have their secret space program church. You have different churches out there. And they all know they have it all figured out or going to have it figured out or some kind of same thing as religion, basically. Just a different lipstick, that's all. And let's see what we got here. In Eden, space hippies. Space hippies looking for Eden. That comes from a Star Trek episode. So I haven't seen it. I don't know if I want to see it, but there's some messages there. So is anybody out there been a space hippie looking for Eden? I imagine some people can tap into that. We definitely have a lot of lost hippies here. That's for sure. Some have a very good heart. Others are just psychotic. Not to name any names, but the one good-hearted hippie, that's good. no agenda, just being a hippie. That's great. And there's others, the space hippies in this Star Trek episode try to take over their ship, try to take over the ship. So, try to take over the Enterprise. So, yeah, there's that. But basically, I'm tapping in more into space hippies in general, of for those to tap into their own hippie self, wherever that might need to take you. Yeah, people are wondering, is like, who am I? What am I doing here? Yada yada yada. And I understand that. Yeah, the term space hippie you don't hear very often. So, yeah. Of course, this came out in the '60s, so it makes sense. Yeah, we're kind of in the era of the lost world. The gender situation going on, and just, oh god, just like a soap opera. It just needs a freaking end. I guess it's not one thing, it's another. I guess it's growth. I'm not sure what it is. A bad movie. All right. Yeah, that's whatever it is. All right. So I was having a comedy price sessions. It's got the scheduler here. We have a shop, webinar, social network, behind the scenes, and the archive. Cats are here somewhere. They're sleeping. They're stoned out somewhere. I know they're here somewhere. I just can't find them. They're hibernating. And then they'll be up at 2 o'clock in the morning running around like they lost their minds. So, yeah, there's that. So, okay, we'll go into the Anunnaki energy. For those that are connected to the Anunnaki that have no agenda, that helps. And just kind of connect to your past or interactions with them. It's good to just keep an open mind. There's others that are, going through something else there. So, all right, blessings. Here we go. Greetings with the Anunnaki, the consciousness. Yes, many are still going through their soul growth of trying to understand us. There are some that do feel like they understand our frequencies, but they go by their point of view, and that's fine. I mean, some do have agendas here, as some of you have noticed, trying even controlling the message. So almost like saying it's coming from us when it really isn't. So, but that's not easy to always detect, especially when you trust the person that's telling you false information. But it's kind of like fan fiction. It's like, some of these, there are some that have been kicked out of the Anunnaki that still want to be a part of it. Let's put it that way. Now, anybody can have part of the Anunnaki race, but there are groups within the Anunnaki that you can get kicked out, like anything else. And then they come back and say, oh, but they love me and all of these things. So there's that going on. There's just a lot of tug of war. Not to say Anunnaki is perfect, far from it. Are we contributors to your reality? The concept. Well, let's put it this way: we received our DNA, and it came with consequences, but it helped humanity also, like through health. Well, you could say depending on how you want to look at it. One of the reasons why your bodies are so fragile has to do with Anunnaki DNA, but also that's part of it. The idea is to have the human body as fragile as possible. Well, not too fragile, but weak due to a lot of the early humans that are abusing their power. So the idea is for this generation of humans to not be so powerful, at least physically. Mentally, that's a little bit more difficult to heal. Of course, you see, though, there's still some mental capacity, obviously a lot that can't be connected to for obvious reasons. So you're still pretty powerful. As disconnected as this race is, it's still pretty, even physically, it's still pretty powerful. It finds a way. So yeah, you're dealing with a civilization that's been pretty much deactivated for the most part. And you are activating it slowly, but many are currently misusing it. Or even yes, leaders of the spiritual community, which they say they are. You'd be surprised. Obviously, they'll say that's not true, but others see it differently there. There are, of course, many agendas that connect to our frequency that misuse our energy. Once again, we're not perfect either. We have our own problems. We can't get. I mean, we have our abilities pretty heightened, and yes, we do abuse it, but we don't take it to the level of what your world will take it to. Yeah, your world would go to complete destruction. Yeah, if you had your power back, there probably won't be a planet here. As some of you probably feel that. I mean, even now, it's being tested. I mean, even in your everyday lives, it's pre-tested. So just think about it. I mean, some feel that's just a cop out. We look at society now, it's hard enough just to get through the day. Is that shows you where your world is at. And there is some Martian DNA there. There's other DNA here we're not even allowed to even mention. It's not reptilian. Reptilian is nothing compared to what you have connections to. And of course, some might want to put a name to it, but it's not going to come through anytime soon because there are many powerful races you're connected to. You can say there are immortal races that yes do things they probably should not be doing. And you're kind of like an offshoot of that, but there is a peaceful side of your race, of course. And that's connected to much of the Buddhism that's here to basically keep you at a more of a grounded frequency. There is a such thing as alien terrorists. That your group is that way, but there's some of that here, of course. And there's different ways of interpreting that. Energy terrorists, mind terrorists, basically just to, you think about, you see it more in the physical, but what about mentally? You hear about energy vampires, or what about a terrorist of the mind? Which is not just Archon. Archon is not it's like an architect, but it's not necessarily the villain of all this. Yeah, there are issues also. Everything seems to have a problem, but it's not the main source of. Is this basically your race? You come from basically a powerful species of human, and you can't handle it here, apparently. So with you deactivated, and some of you are wanting to balance that. So basically, like wanting to balance yourself. So you can have all the information in the universe, and that's nice. But can you balance yourself? Balance your frequency. It's like knowledge is great and everything, but you can connect to deeper information, but you have to balance your frequency to do so. And it's not for ego purposes either. It's like you connect to your inner enlightenment. Look at it that way. It's not necessarily words, it's energy. It's like where you are vibrationally. And many are in the ego, where they say they're 9th dimension, 10th dimension. And that might be true, but they put it on a pedestal. It's like some of us are, it's like, oh, great, there's those 9th dimensional beings again. But men Anunnaki are at a 4th dimensional level because we keep downgrading ourselves, well, due to our problems. Some are basically, they go up the levels. Well, you still have problems, but it's different type of problems. But we're at more of a, so we're very close to the human element that you're going through. We're not necessarily, we're humanoid. We don't necessarily call ourselves humans, of course. We're just an aspect of human, but we don't really word it that way. But your human race is just a powerful race which is good to explore itself vibrationally, energy wise, to solve like the mysteries of yourselves. But it's not always through history. History has been destroyed for many reasons. And yes, that's your ruins, you can say. It's so, yeah, it's your handiwork. Not to say humans are bad, no. It just, there's always bad actors within it. It just, as you know, it takes a few to ruin it for everybody. And many do get lost here. Well, because the mind gets so manipulated. Is this basically, yes, it would be nice if humanity on your world was a little bit more, yes, even or balanced, where you just accept each other, know your powerful energies, but know not to misuse it. And you're just working together very well, where you just have a stabilized earth. Earth will get larger, change its color, and so on. Blessings. Free see with the consciousness of the mind control that's happening on your planet. Uh, you can say this is an update. LSD, you can say, was developed. Well, it goes into your chemical balance. Not that many of you have that. Some do, of course. But obviously, the mind control goes towards more of the children, as you know. So you see the children agendas currently of confusion. So look at it this way. We're going to be kind of vague of how we're talking, what we're going. I believe some of you can figure it out. You notice the children are targeted currently today, always, but more recently, more popular for obvious reasons. You're going more into a higher frequency. And so the idea is to confuse the new generations. So you're kind of, even if you don't have it all figured out, and it's difficult to do so, but there is a higher frequency. Basically, humans are going to more high frequency. The earth is still doing what it's doing. But you're just moving up consciousness. Maybe not all of you, but a good amount of you are. So the idea is to derail it. Like I said, without going into details. Some of you have children right now. They're going into school. You see all the manipulation going in throughout the schools without going into details. So yeah, there's beings that want to derail it. Now, who's doing this? They're not going to make themselves clear. They're not going to let us even mention their names or tap into it. And does it really matter? Yes and no. It's like the idea is to clear out that agenda, what matters most. Eventually, the perpetrator will eventually show itself. Well, you can say it's another challenge. You're evolving. And now you see someone trying to take your society and destroy it. Basically, there are society destroyers currently. And that's been going on throughout history. It's just, this is another way of how they're doing it. They just find vulnerabilities within society and they go after it. It's actually strengthens your society also. Well, we'll go into more details. Basically, like gender, trying to figure out the gender. And of course, kids are all confused. They connect to all these multidimensional realms. It's like they're making things more complicated. So there's like energy assassins, you can say, that's out there causing this, timeline disruptors, however you want to word it, or whoever you think it is, because there's many beings involved with it. But you are evolving. There's consequences to evolving. Now, society in general is not, even if society in general, on the mass level is not evolving, well, they are in their own way. But it only takes a couple of you to really start to move forward, where eventually the vibration goes out and others pick up on it. They evolve in their own way. So society in general is evolving, even if it might not look that way. And many do go, as your world evolves, some do go more into, try to keep life simple, play checkers or something, or just something that, maybe knitting or something to keep them more grounded. It's a grounded frequency. And then, of course, the school kids have to go through an insane asylum. It's like they're going through a mental test. It's like, can you get? And these are just kids going. I mean, think about like the children Olympics. It's kind of like that, but it's more like for torture, per mental torture. And your school systems, basically your school systems, obviously are corrupt and all. I mean, there's good there, but there's also a lot of corruption there. Obviously, the teachers know they can only do so much. But yeah, your schools are obviously ran by elite systems, obviously, which is too bad. But it's also, I mean, it is a game. It's just basically to say you don't want to play this game anymore, which many are doing. Others are going through their victimhood at this point. So it just, yeah, you have to do what you can for yourself, of course, your families, and just education. Just have to keep educating to stay ahead of the manipulators that are here. Is this world is basically just, yeah, it's to connect to the devil energy, the lower frequencies. Not everybody has to go through it, but it just shows how the lower realms are trying to consume. That's what they're designed for, consuming a planet's energies. So you're here to heal that. The best of your ability, of course. Blessings. Grease you. We are the space hippies. Some of us are Palladian. There's different frequencies, Arcturian, and so on. Don't have to go into all the names of all. It's basically, you can say hippies can be lost, but that's kind of the point. That is for conversation music. Yes, you get high just to, it's all about the art of conversation, but also to learn about others. I mean, especially it's just basically also to create a safe environment for others to just feel more like they can sit back, relax, and be themselves. So the hippie is kind of like the mental recliner. So basically, have your mind just release all the troubles. Of course, you become too much of a hippie and just don't care about anything, and just all your responsibilities go out the window. So there is a dark side to it. But aside of that, because you become just so just lucid, so relaxed. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just when you have to function in a society like this, it's a little more difficult. But some of you have been hippies from other worlds where you're just laying around on top of each other all day. Well, it's not exactly like that, but there is moments like that. It's kind of like being sunflower people. It's just you're in human form, but you're kind of like flower people. You're just with flowers, you just stand there, right? They just but people, they can just lay on top of each other and just sleep, and just, of course, I might get uncomfortable after a while, but it's just one aspect of it. But yeah, the downside of being a hippie is just wearing responsibilities again. But yeah, there are chill planets out there, which many of you are aware of, and wish you can be back there. And but you come here to, that's one thing about this planet, is to get those are so chilled out to slowly inherit responsibility again. Maybe that's the bag people. They're bagging. At the grocery store, they're the baggers. It's like, I'm just so mellowed out, just bag stuff all day. It's easier than sometimes taking those jobs that menial jobs, but it's like, I can do this, something simple. Clean the floors or something simple, so I can live in La La Land all day. Remember, this is only one aspect of it. But like your hippies in the 60s and 70s is a radical energy. Basically, it's an energy that was needed because there was so much darkness, especially after what happened to Kennedy. So just like the society needed a reset. And it's also helped your population. It just helped some mellow out. Obviously, there's always a dark side to it. It's not easy being a hippie, especially when you need responsibility. You don't want any. And so, yeah, a lot of souls have to grow up. Or just remember what growing up feels like. So it's a balance you're bringing in. It's just a slow balance you're figuring out. So us connecting to your frequency. Well, hippies do bring in that Eden energy. You know, now obviously we live in a society where you don't have to do anything. I mean, everybody needs a break. But some of you have been to those Eden planets and feel like there's maybe too much of a break. So okay, laying around doing nothing for 2 weeks is fine. But I was like, you know what? I have things to do. I have still have responsibilities somewhere in the universe. And the hippies can be almost zombie-like to some level. It was like, oh, just hang out for another 5 years, or 20 years, or 1,000 years. And some of you have actually done that. So you go to sleep, it's like, well, it's been 20 years already. So, but you're probably the happiest 20 years you ever had. So, just for some of you to remember those realms. So, yeah, our energy is medicine too. Not your medicine you get from a doctor, basically. Kind of like a relaxer. What is a relaxer? But it's we are part of the drugs here, at least the more positive kind. So others trying to weaponize our energy. So, but either way, send you all energies and have a good day.